Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. Now, the last couple of reviews I've done, we did them in the Inverness area. Of course, we spent quite a bit of time in the Inverness area there and visited a lot of distilleries. The Knockdhu distillery, which was east of Inverness, we did the 24 Annick and the 18 Annick. Prior to that, we were about 3/4 of an hour to the north there of Inverness, and we were in the Glenmorangie Ball-Blair area, and we did the Ball-Blair 18 and the Ball-Blair 15. Now, we're going to bounce back north again. You're kind of wondering why I'm bouncing back and forth. I was actually waiting on a sample, I just hadn't gone and picked it up. And I do a fair amount of whiskey trading and all that, and part of the reason for that is just the common sense of it is like, I can't afford to go out there and buy every whiskey. There's a huge amount of finance involved in that without getting in the advertising game, and try to keep this channel simple, not a lot of financial patronage in that. I do have a fairly good stock of whiskey to trade. So we did some trading and with my whiskey buddy Al there, and I finally was able to pick up a sample. We've got Clynelish. And here's the Clynelish 12-year-old cask strength, 58.5, somewhere in that area, percentage, 2022 release. I'll show you a picture of it. And up against it, I am going to take the old standard core range 14-year-old. I think a lot of you have probably sampled this. Actually, I sampled this numerous times when I was in Scotland too, because I found it more frequent over there than here. Well, let's get into this review, and we're going to give these guys a pour. I do have a little presentation there, and you're certainly welcome to scroll ahead if you do not want to watch it. I won't find it offensive, but I am a historian. And so I will cover these distilleries. I like to cover the romanticism, but also the dark side of them. And Clynelish does have a dark side. So there we are. They look pretty. We will see you when we all get back.
I'm about to tell you a tragic story that begins with powerful landowners of the 19th century, the Duke and Duchess of Sutherland, that owned Dunrobin Castle and vast lands in northern Scotland. They were involved in the evictions of more than 15,000 Scottish farmers and the burning of more than 500 crop farms during the clearances and replacing them with sheep. They offered low-paying jobs to these Highlanders to work in their coal mines, brick plants, salt works, and other businesses they owned in the town of Brora. The Sutherlands also needed workers for the new Clynelish distillery that they had built to make a better profit from the barley grown on their lands. By 1870, the 3rd Duke of Sutherland had brought the railway to Brora. By then, he was the wealthiest man in the United Kingdom. Clynelish had been legally making whiskey since 1819, but it wasn't until 1896 when John Risk partnered with blenders Ainsley and Helbrun that the distillery started to build a reputation. By 1912, both John Risk and DCL owned Clynelish, and it had become the highest priced single malt in the UK. By 1925, Clynelish was run solely by DCL, only to be mothballed in 1931. It wasn't until 1960 that full production was resumed, and in 1967 the new 6-still Clynelish distillery was built. The old 2-still distillery was named Clynelish B. It was shut down for a year and then reopened as Brora Distillery. Brora was needed to fill a gap for DCL's Johnnie Walker blends because Clynelish Distillery on Islay was going through a drought and then was being rebuilt. Brora continued to produce whiskey but was closed in 1983. Those whiskeys have become highly sought after by whiskey enthusiasts. DCL, which is now Diageo, have spent £35 million to rebuild and reopen the Brora Distillery in 2021. They have also invested £150 million in upgrading their visitor centres at Glenkinchie, Cardew, Clynelish, and Clynelish, which opened in 2021. In 2017, they added a new 12-ton stainless steel mash tun and 10 washbacks, which now increases the yearly production to 4.8 million litres of alcohol. The mash tun holds 12 tons of malt with 50,000 litres of water for the mash cycle. The old Clynelish mash tun was remachined into the now popular Blair Athol mash tun bar. They have 8 60,000-litre Oregon pine washbacks and 2 steel washbacks that take up to 90 hours for the fermentation. The 3 wash stills are charged to 17,000 litres, and the 3 spirit stills are charged to 19,000 litres. These larger stills run a slower distillation through the short condensers, which help produce the whiskey's renowned waxy character. Clynelish has been connected with Johnnie Walker for over a century. The distillery uses 95% of its spirit and Johnnie Walker blends, and is known to be a key part of the Gold Label Reserve and Johnnie Walker Green Label.
Well, welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation there, and for those that skipped it and scrolled ahead, we're going to get right into this. Something I've noticed when I poured these is how close the color is, so I'm going to bring these up and let you take a peek at them. Well, I don't know if you could tell the difference in the color, but I certainly couldn't, so... Anyways, you have to admit there were lots of legs on those drams, so it's always a good sign. So we finished off our last tour at the Bull Blair Glenmorangie area, which was about 45 minutes north of Inverness, and we're going to head across Dornoch Firth, and the first community we come to is Gulspie, just north of Gulspie, about an hour north of Inverness. You're in Dunrobin Castle area. And of course, in the presentation, we talked about the dark side of the Sutherland, the Duke of Sutherland and the Duchess of Sutherland. Now, I would definitely still visit the castle because it is spectacular. The gardens are spectacular, and the castle kind of gives us a picture of life a few hundred years ago, right from the Jacobite rebellions, right up to the Duke and Duchess, their period, the clearances, etc. 10 miles to the north of the castle, we're in Brora. And traveling north on A9, just on the outskirts of Brora, we come to Clynelish Road.
Turn left off of A9 onto Clynelish Road, and a little over half a mile down the road, you will see Clynelish Distillery on your left and the refurbished Brora Distillery on your right.
Now let's get into the review. We'll start with the 12-year-old Diageo Special Release Cask Strength. Let's give it the nose. Salangeva. Wow. Intense. There is some alcohol I'm getting, but I'm also getting Manuka honey. And with that honey, maybe we can throw some pears, maybe some apples, more on the greener side. Spicy. More alcohol. And there's a bouquet of floral notes happening. So far, so good. Now, the one I'm familiar with, the 14-year-old. Ooh, this is got some light pear stuff going on there. Still has there's a familiarity between the two, but more the floral. I'm picking up a lot of that floral bouquet. The honey's more like a clover honey. This here, I got a Manuka, like a spicy honey, thick and quite rich. But this is similar. That's what's blowing me away. It's quite similar. I'm getting those honey notes are quite strong, but so is vanilla. But back to the pears, apples, peaches, apricots. Anyways, they're both beautiful nose. Cilantro. Pretty intense, sweet, spicy. I am getting a wee bit of the chocolate, maybe even some tobacco notes. Coffee or tea. Now I'm getting some caramelized apples. Going to go right to that honey, good, strong honey notes. There is alcohol there, but it's rather a smooth presentation. It's not as prickly as I was expecting it to be. Okay, the 14-year-old, 46%. And this is a standard bottling with Clynelish. So, the palate. Cilantro. Boy, there's some similarities. There's still a little bit of spiciness to it. The waxiness is, I'm going to say beeswax. That's the easiest way to really identify it. And you notice I didn't talk about the wax here. I'll probably get into that later on, but this here, I'm noticing it, even though this is a thicker, probably more oily drink. But it could also be blinded a bit by what else is in the 12-year-old there. But the 14-year-old, I noticed it kind of right away. But more vanilla notes. Could be more bourbon influence. I am getting a wee bit of more of a milk chocolate, really. But not as dry as this. And overall, just a really nice balanced drink, the Clynelish 14. Let's get our palate clean again, and we're going to go for the development and the finish. Cilantro. I'm still getting a lot of sweetness out of this here. It is a strong, it's coating, it's oily. As far as the wax, I say oily. Maybe on my tongue I get a little bit more of that waxiness. But there is some dark chocolate, and I talked about the tea notes, more of the dark fruit I'm getting now. The finish on this is certainly going to be longer than this. I do get still that saltiness. There's some saltiness about it. There's something there that is maritime. It just seems to be a stronger hit of this. Maybe there's a bit of that sherry influence is how I look at it. So, but the much sweeter than this is what's blowing me away. So, but I'm going to bounce back again, and we're going to go into the 14-year-old. Cilantro. Orange peels. I'm getting still the milk chocolate. The finish, a little bit, I'm going to say not quite where the cask strength 12 is, but we're going to give it a medium. There is some pepper stuff going on here. There is some ginger spices going on here, orange, citrus notes, etc. Just, this seems to be the cask strength 12 seems to be an amplified version of this, maybe with a few sherry notes is really where we're going. So there is some similarities in the two there. So we'll leave it at that. I think we're going to be adding water now. Now we're comparing a cask strength to a 46, and that's expecting a lot out of this to match up with that, but I think we can do it. So let's add some water to both these and let's just see where it goes. This is the cask strength. Okay, and this is, of course, the 14. We're gonna go the palate with water. Cilantro. I'm really getting the sherry notes now. I wasn't earlier. And the dark fruit. Chocolate, dark chocolate. The tea's turned to coffee, maybe I would say mocha. Very spicy. Manuka's, the Manuka honey hasn't left. But I'm definitely getting some of the beeswax now. I don't know what, just seemed to suddenly come out. Maybe I'm trying to identify it right now. You know, I can go on with descriptors, but you know, I'm going to say that they've done an okay job on this, Diageo. Let's get into the 14 that I am familiar with water, cilantro. Really pretty impressed with how that just opens everything up. You know, if you could eat flowers, I'm eating flowers right now, sweet flowers. Strong now on the ginger, orange, and that's kind of orange, more orange rind. Some certainly the beeswax has not disappeared. And I've got some tea notes going on. And with water, it really brings out a lot more. Certainly the sweetness came out. I'm going to stay with the clover honey. What can I say about the two of these? Well, this is an affordable whiskey. It's always been an affordable whiskey from Clynelish. Thank God Diageo was putting something at 46% too. So this is always going to be something that, you know, you'll go back to, you'll purchase. I still think it's a decent, whether it is chill filtered or not, we could talk about this for hours. It's a decent 85 points. We get into this, it would climb above this. But here's something we didn't talk about, price. Now for me to purchase this, and that's why I didn't purchase it, and that's why I did some whiskey trading with Elle, but I just don't see $300 Canadian for a whiskey like this. I mean, I paid less than that for the 24 Annick, for gosh sakes. And I'm sorry, this isn't quite the 24 Annick, okay? So overall, it's a great whiskey. This is all about affordability, is what it is. This is what it's getting down to. I give this 88 points, 87, 88 points, if it wasn't for the price. With the price, I don't think it's going to get to here. I don't think I could give it 85. I would give it less than this. So maybe somewhere around 84-ish. I don't know. It's a real hard one to judge, but I'm not going to give it what this is because I just don't think, I think this is a better value for your money, the 14, and I don't think that this, as good as this whiskey is, and I really will enjoy the rest of this, I don't think it's worth that. So 83, 84, somewhere in that area for the 12-year-old cask strength Clynelish. So I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. Until the next time, cilantro.